Hello, I am just going to try to show you how we can implement various types of validation in a MySQL database. So I'm back using the Dodgeball database as my example, and I'm going to go to Notepad++ here, which is where I've been typing MySQL just to keep it saved. And here you can see how I created the teams table. So after the last video, we'd added in the fact that this was a primary key and it was auto-incrementing. Now, first of all, let's deal with presence checks. Now, in a data dictionary, there's normally a required column, or certainly the SQA ones have a required column, and that basically covers a presence check. And that is equivalent to not null in SQL. So any, in the same way that we put primary key and auto-increment after any fields that we want to be a primary key or want to be auto-incrementing, any fields that we want to be required, essentially a presence check, we just type the words not null. So let's say team name, for example. Now I don't need to do it for primary key because that by default that will be not null. But let's say team name, we say they've got to have a team name picked. We just type after the data type. So after we've set up the name of the field and then its data type, just do a space, not space null. That's it. Maybe, let's just leave it at that. I'm not going to say that we need league or date form to that, but we can add that into any fields at all. Now, all other types of validation check, range check, length check, the other one, restricted choice. As far as SQA are concerned, and in the exam, this is how you would do it. So let's say team name again. Let's say we want that to be restricted choice. So the way we do it, we just add in another little constraint here. So not null is constraining the field. Here's another one. We type the words check, the word even, there's only one of them, the word check, and then brackets. And inside the brackets, we put a rule. Now it can be a complex rule, simple rule. So for example, we could say team name. Why would I do it in team name? That's not where I meant to do it at all. Let's change that. I just realised where I wanted to do it. Because I had actually, you won't believe it, but I had actually spent a few minutes thinking about what I was about to do here. Let's do it in league. So there are only a few dodgeball leagues. So if they're picking one, let's say check. And then in here, we'll just say league must equal, and now we can list whatever they are. I'm acting as if I know loads about dodgeball here, I don't. League equals NDL Pro, or league equals whatever another one is, I think NDL Amateur or something, and so on, or whatever. We can list them all. There are other ways, by the way, that we can do that. We don't have to do loads of ors. We can use the in operator, which we'll look at another time. And so we can do the same. That essentially gives us a restricted choice, a restricted list of acceptable answers. There are only two in this case. We could do a range check. Not going to work for that, obviously, but for date, we could say check, and then date formed has to be greater than, for example. There we go, it's a range check. If we wanted to do a length check, I'll do a length check on this one. I would use the length function. Length of team name, tema name. I may have mentioned in every single video that I'm typing in a very awkward way here. Length of team name has to be, greater than 6. And length of team name less than whatever if you want to do a complex condition. But there we go, that's it. So using the check keyword there, we can add in these constraints and using not null. Now here's the problem. That's all well and good for the SQA exams and later versions of SQL, but the version we've got on XAMPP, or certainly the version we've got on this portable XAMPP that I'm using doesn't support the check constraint. That only came into later versions of MySQL. So that's really what you need to remember. But if you want to implement this, if you want to actually do it, so say for your project, you're doing something with SQL, if you actually want to implement some validation, you're going to have to do it in a different way. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. Let me just delete these, because they just won't work. I'm actually going to, I don't know why I felt the need to, I just realised I didn't need to. I felt the need to delete this from my previous example. I'm just going to copy that and paste it in here again and just create that table again. I deleted the table. I don't think there was any need for me to do that. I felt like I was preparing for this example. Right, it's all done. Having created the table, if I want to do restricted choice, length check, or range check, this is what I need to do. Not null, still fine. I put this code in, essentially. So you don't need to remember this, really. You just need to use it if it's, if you're trying to actually implement it. Let me explain it as quickly as I can. It's called a trigger. You give it a name here, so that can change. You tell it the table that you're referring to. So this basically, when someone, or when the user tries to insert, so run an insert command on the teams table, then this trigger will be used. What does it do? It basically checks to see if what's in the league field in the new record that they've inserted. It checks if it's not NDA Pro and it's not NDL Pro and it's not that and it's not that, then it basically reports an error and displays a little message. So what are the bits that you would change? This chunk here, that's the condition. I guess you change the name of the trigger and the name of the table it's acting on. And if you want, you can change this little error message. Other than that, you just leave it as it is. So I'll make this available to you on the page so you can just copy and paste. And what you'd actually also do, just to be more thorough, is let's say they've inserted something and it works, but then they try to update it. We need to put in a little thing there as well. So what I would just do is I'd also have one that does before update. So just seeing it, so you've got this before insert. That's what it's doing when someone tries to insert something into Teams, and this one when someone tries to update a record that already exists in Teams. It will only allow it if this condition isn't met. Okay, so all you need to do then, I'm just going to copy all that and go back to here. So as long as your table's created, as long as the Teams table exists, as long as that league exists in it, we should just be able to paste this in. I'd like if it works. Oh, trigger already. Wait. Check league before insert on Teams. That one worked. And then check. Oh, I mean, for goodness sake. Right. Here's the mistake I made. I've got a trigger called check league, and I've called this one check league. Let's just call it. Let's give it a slightly more descriptive name. Check league before update. And let's see if I can get this working. Now let's go back to here. So that's what I did, just change the name so it didn't match up. And for goodness sake. Yay. Okay, so now you can try that out yourself. If you try to insert a record with a league that doesn't exist in there, then it's not going to like it. Now, I had another example here. It's the exact same, but it's just to show you how you do the exact same thing. So I've got one to check date in Teams, and here the bit I change is the rule. So if the new record date formed field has something less than that, then display it, it'll throw up an error and it'll display my little message. So you can just edit these, and again I'd do one for before update as well, and I would remember to change the name of the trigger. Okay, so do those if you actually want to implement in this. Hope that helps a little bit. See ya eventually.